Hey guys, I'm Rich Woods from NeoWin. Today, we're going to take a look at Microsoft on Android. Now, I've done these types of videos before where there's a new Microsoft app on Android, and I'd say Microsoft on Android. This. Today, I just want to look at the whole picture because lately the next lock screen got updated to include fingerprint support, which is huge. The fact that it didn't before, it kind of made it a little clumsy to use if you use a device that unlocks with a fingerprint. So they also introduced the hub keyboard, and really, if you have an Android device, you can create an entire Microsoft ecosystem on your device, and it's pretty awesome. I mean, I love it. I use the arrow launcher, the next lock screen. So I want to take a look at the whole picture here, and we're going to see how it works. I mean, rumors have been swirling around for a long time now that Microsoft is going to ditch Windows Phone and go all in on Android. Now, I'm not saying that's going to happen. They still would have to somehow port universal apps over to Android, and I don't see that happening in the immediate future. But those rumors are there, and when you look at Microsoft's offerings on Android, you can actually see that there's a really solid ecosystem there, and you could turn your Android phone into a Microsoft phone. So let's take a look. Okay, so starting off with the next lock screen here, you get a new picture every day, which is beautiful. In fact, I have most of my phones set to use the Bing image of the day on the lock screen, right? And I know it's not the same on all phones. Sometimes some phones update later than others, but that's neither here nor there. All right. So what they try to do down here is they try to give you your most used apps. Okay, so down here, Google Play Rewards is an app that I check often because you get free stuff on Google Play, and I don't use Android for really that much else. I like the Note 5 for S Note. Hangouts I use for text messaging. So they did a good job of picking my most used apps. All right. So I would double click to open one of them, but also we have shortcuts down here. So if I wanted to use the flash as a flashlight, we have that as well. Right. And that's a pretty useful. I mean, easy access to the flashlight is always easy. Um, many iOS has done this for some time now. I think they were the first, and then Cyanogen had it too in certain skins of Android, and we're seeing it more and more where flashlight is just integrated into the OS, and you don't need a shady app to do it. Rotation lock, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, and you can customize all of this right by going to settings here. But I do need to unlock the phone. Um, Right, so enable lock screen system lock. You can change that to next screen lock, which will have to do pattern or pin, but I like to stick with fingerprint because who really likes typing a pin anymore? Really? Set wallpaper. I like the Bing wallpaper of the day. I use that on any phone that supports it. Right. Alarm and camera access, set power saving mode, app notifications are on, so you get notifications right in the middle of the screen there. And it's not the normal tiles that you see from Android phones, which honestly I'm not a huge fan of. It looks a lot nicer than that. Meetings, missed calls, SMS, show music player, all that. App launcher. Okay, so like I said, I could launch the app by double tapping, but you can also single tap. You have that option. App mode you can automatically suggest, or you can pick your own. Right there's all kinds of options there, very customizable, and it's a great lock screen. Right, it's a lot more options than you would get from pretty much any other lock screen or any other stock lock screen on a phone. All right, so that brings us to the Arrow launcher. Okay, the Arrow launcher is my personal favorite launcher, just like Next is my personal favorite lock screen. We can drag up. These will these are apps that are chosen by the user. Right, we can drag them wherever we want. We can put apps in there. We can do that by going in here, and we would simply drag that right over here, and now that's on our shortcuts here. All right, and these apps on the home screen here, this is our most frequently used apps. A lot of these projects are all about bringing you your frequently used apps automatically. Now, some people like that and some people don't. I've spoken to a lot of people about this about this launcher, and a lot of people don't like the idea that the OS is picking which apps you use the most, because also they're going to change places, right? So I guess camera is the one I use the most. So if I use Google Play Rewards a lot more, that's going to switch over here. A lot of people like a set home screen where they're going to know where everything is all the time. And I totally understand that. Okay, so we swipe to the right here. These are frequent contacts. All right, I don't have any frequent contacts right now. And recent. These are all photos I've taken. It's all the recent stuff that you've done. Okay, so we can see, let's grab a photo here. All right, and we can open that with photos. All right. Oddly enough, it doesn't show that it's a GIF. That's right, I said GIF. I don't give a crap what anybody says. All right, so we also have the app drawer here. Recently used apps are up here, and then going down alphabetical order, scrolling. I personally really like it this way. I love the vertical scrolling. I love that they did that with Android Marshmallow, and of course you can tap a letter on the side and go wherever you want. Similar to the way Windows Phone works, in that you can tap on a letter and pick where you want to go on the list, right? So we also have Hub Keyboard, which Hub Keyboard was just recently introduced, all right? So now that we have a notification, I do just want to show how the notification comes up on the next lock screen, all right? A friend wants to know what's going on with Apple and the FBI because, hey, I am the resident tech guy. Now, the Hub keyboard is actually in beta, so I don't want to criticize this thing too much because it really wouldn't be fair. We don't have any swipe functionality here. There's a lot of things missing. When you backspace back to the first space where it should go back to capital, it does not. But it does do some pretty cool things. Now, it goes to your clipboard here. You can paste things, and if you go to your recents here, you can see things that you've copied earlier. So this is something that we rarely see from anything. You can copy something else, and not lose the first thing that you copied, which is pretty awesome. Down here, we can sign into an Office 365 account, and that would allow us to search through documents. However, Office 365 Home, Office 365 Personal users cannot use the feature at this time. Right? We could search through contacts up here, and that will come up. And then translate, which is pretty cool. So we type hello, and then there it goes. It translates. And you can also change the language settings, and then you could switch it to whatever you want. We could change it to Serbian, and now we got Zdravo. I don't even know how to say it. I'm sure someone will correct me in the comments of this video. All right, so let's go back and take a look at some of Microsoft's other offerings on Android, because there are quite a few, and Cortana is the one that comes to mind. Okay, I'm gathering a look at your day. Cortana works very well on Android, almost as good as it does on Windows 10 Mobile. All right, it's a lot better than Windows Phone 8.1. The interface is a lot cleaner, but remember, Cortana on Windows Phone 8.1 was in beta, and it's finally out of beta on Windows 10 Mobile. Certain things you can't do. For instance, on a Windows 10 PC, you can send a text using Cortana, assuming you have a Windows 10 mobile phone. On the other hand, it doesn't communicate with Cortana for Android or iOS just yet, not saying that it won't. Okay, so as we can see, reminders, Cortana is there completely. It's not a beta version of Cortana. Cortana is there. Another limitation of Cortana comes through Microsoft Health, where if you have a Microsoft Band paired with your Android phone, which you can do, you don't get to have Cortana on your Microsoft Band as you would if it's paired with with a Windows phone. Now, Microsoft did promise that this feature is coming to both iOS and Android for Microsoft Band, or at least Band 2 users. They promised this when the Band 2 was launched. It hasn't happened. They haven't talked about it since then. So there's really just nothing else to say. Okay, so Microsoft Health, while we're here, does everything that the Microsoft Health app for Windows Phone does. However, the third-party apps that are on Windows Phone that work with the Microsoft Band aren't exactly available on Android and iOS. Right? So Microsoft has their full set of offerings. Okay. Microsoft also has an app called Microsoft Apps. And what that allows you to do is get Microsoft apps. And this shows you these are the popular apps that we have available for Android. All right, there's really quite a few categories. If we go to all apps, you really see them all. Skype, Microsoft Office Mobile is toward the top despite separate Office apps now. Okay, so Microsoft, it's a complete ecosystem because remember, probably I'd go so far as to say most of these things are not available on Windows 10 mobile. All right, a lot of them are. I mean, maybe most of them are, but it's close because a lot of them are not. Especially the garage projects, which by the way, Arrow Launcher, Next Lockscreen, Hub Keyboard, they're all garage projects. All right, these are not official Microsoft products. All right, you have a Bing Ads app. Right, a lot of this, and some of this stuff is stuff that most of us have never even heard of. Right, operations management suite. I mean, that's all enterprise stuff, Dynamics. But Quiz to Win. All right, there's a lot of stuff here that's just crafting guide, Microsoft Wi-Fi. Well, we know Microsoft Wi-Fi, Power BI, Microsoft Startup Directory. Right, there's quite a few here. App comparison. That's actually, I believe that's an old one. Considering changing your Android device to a Windows phone, app comparison lets you do that. Microsoft Tech Companion is actually a pretty cool app. It's basically all about Microsoft tech news, kind of, in a way. Let's get that open. Right, there's really so many Microsoft. I mean, obviously, I can't go through every Microsoft app that's out there. I don't even have them all installed on the phone. I'm showing you what I use here. All right, and I am going to show you the Outlook app before we're done. All right, so top news from January 2016. All right, and this app is available for iOS as well. Um, yeah, so it's just, and you can search by product. The products here are kind of dated, where if I go to, yeah, Visual Studio, the options are 2008 and 2010, which is kind of odd because I don't know that this app has been around that long, but I don't know. For all I know, it could be. We also have Outlook, right? Like I said, I'm going to show you Outlook. This is a great app, and they started this when they bought a Compli, and now it's the iOS and Android version of Outlook, and they didn't do that for Windows Phone. They could have, but they didn't. You also have Calendar here. All right, there's your contacts. It's really nice that they really just have all this stuff. You know, your accounts are there and you're allowed to sign into multiple accounts, so we can see if we all accounts. Right, these are all the accounts that I've signed into. You can add more, right? And you have the option Office 365, iCloud, Google, IMAP. And then your iCloud contacts will sync with your Outlook contacts on there. Right? It's all pretty great. You can sync your files from Box, Dropbox, and OneDrive. And they just recently added Box support with updates also to Word, PowerPoint, and Excel. Right? So Outlook is the email client that I prefer to use on iOS and Android. All right? Although I do sync with the default mail clients because it just works better that way. OneNote, of course, is an awesome app. OneNote has always been my preferred way of taking notes. Right? You can tell, and Office Lens has long been my most productive app. So I can send stuff directly to OneNote from there. Right? We have yeah, here's Office Lens. Take a quick look at OneDrive first because I'm going to finish up with Office Lens. All right, so OneDrive does exactly what you'd expect it to do. There's really not much to talk about there, so we can move on. But it is a nice app. It does well. All right, so now let's look at Office Lens, which I really refer to Office Lens as business card mode and Word and PowerPoint app. You can open Word or PowerPoint right from Office Lens. Great. So new features there. But I really consider it to be my favorite app. So we're going to scan a page here, right? It's a scanner app, and here's how it works. So as we can see, it makes a little square around the page, and it tries to straighten it as best as it can, right? And this is something that I use all the time. I use it to take screenshots of my TV. I use it because you can take a picture of a piece of paper or a whiteboard or a television, but you're gonna have to crop it or you're gonna have to tilt it or something. This does all of that automatically. I think it's fantastic. It's on Windows Phone, iOS, and Android, and that is probably the app that I use the most between all platforms. All right, guys, that's it. Obviously, I can't cover everything. Like you saw, there's so much there. But really, Microsoft provides a full Microsoft experience on Android. And if you're on Android and you're a Microsoft fan, check it out because it's really an awesome experience. Even if you just have the Arrow launcher and the next lock screen and use a few Microsoft services, it's all there for you. And since Android is such an open system, they can all integrate with each other. Anyway, guys, that's it. I'm Rich Woods from NeoWin, and have a great night.